Hello everyone, welcome back to my 100% OG Play Something series. I'm your host, helloazae, also known as Jeff, and we're back with more 3/4 Home. Honestly, I actually can't remember where I left off, so I'm just gonna have to really figure out what's going on as we go. Please don't mind. Yes, please pick up where I last left off. I have no clue. Help. Help. Please. Help. I am somewhat more energetic today for once in a very long time. So long ago, in fact, I don't remember when I last did my last recording. Anyway, her mind kept returning to that last moment of a loading screen. Anytime now. So yeah, I wonder how everyone else is doing out there, because clearly it's been so long I can't remember what the last thought was when I was playing this game. So let's just drive along and maybe recollect and recall what has happened since. Ben, here, talk to your sister. Okay, I'm talking to my brother. Who doesn't want to talk to me? You can ask her about that computer. Let me have the phone. Dad says I can have your computer if you crash or get sucked into a tornado. This damn kid! Hey, Benji. Don't call me that. You know I hate it when you call me that. My name isn't Benji, it's Ben. Sorry, I forgot. Don't do it again. I won't, I promise. So that last time... It won't happen again. Mom and Dad are arguing in the corner. They don't think I can hear them. Likely about some issue regarding Ben saying I can steal the computer? Or she can steal the computer? About me? What are they arguing about? Mom thinks we should be in the east storage room on the storage room on the east side of the house because she says it's further underground. Is it? No, one of the walls is only halfway covered up. She's also afraid that the water heater in here could explode. If that happens, we'd be killed even if we were on the other room. We'd burn to death. Jeez, this kid is just a bundle of joy. So you guys are in the safest room. We are least likely to be killed by a tornado if we're in this room, but there's no guarantee in either room. Tornadoes and debris are unpredictable. Sounds like you've thought this out. This kid has spent a lot of time thinking how his family's gonna die from tornadoes and or other homely hazards. It's just common sense. Okay, it's not common sense because I have no idea what they're talking about. Oh god, I'm stupid. Are you scared? Yes. Anything I can do to help? How? We can just talk. What about? You've been writing a lot lately, haven't you? Yes. Do you want me to read one of your stories? ... Ellipses. Like how we used to tell stories to each other. All of my stories are upstairs. It would be dangerous to go upstairs during a tornado warning. I didn't think about that. I wrote one today. I could tell it to you. Alright. Are you ready? I'm ready. The village sat in a wide valley cut high in the mountains. It was a place of plenty, a gash of green and the otherwise cold slate rising above on all sides. Those living in the village called the place View. Though those who lived higher in the mountains, burly miners digging for precious glints of yellow and blue, called it the Trough. Those in the valley resented the use of this name, but meekly allowed its use by the hardy mountain folk. The View, or the Trough, had lived there for centuries. They were mostly farmers, though a fair number of merchants made a home in the valley for most of the year, save for the month where they could venture upward into the mining towns to sell the harvest's bounty at a premium. They would return home with bags filled with chips of yellow and blue tied to their fine leather belts, clinking brightly with their wealth. The next year, they would trade half of their shining flints to the farmers for a share of the harvest that they would, in turn, caught up to the mining villages yet again. Food flowed up and outward from the valley, and the yellow and blue would trickle down, gathering in the valley like a collection basin. This continued for hundreds, perhaps thousands of years. Dozens of generations of farmer fathers and merchant sons were born, grew wealthier with the mountain's precious stone, and were buried beneath the plush pasture of the valley, until the beast descended. The mining folk in the higher reaches of the mountains had passed tales of the beast around for as long as their history stretched. At the highest peak of the northernmost mountain, they said, lived the beast. It watched in all directions, through slit eyes, judging those below, biding its time until it would enact a righteous calamity. It was a nightmare of immense and terrible power, the miners would whisper. But it was also a patient creature. It would wait until it felt the world below had become irredeemable before unleashing such destruction that its judgment would be fulfilled. It was simply biding its time until an age of selfish sin before cascading down an era of sickness, and madness, of fire and char and blood. And one day, after thousands of generations of farmers and traders had lived and died in the valley, it appeared in view. The beast had risen in the trough. It appeared without warning, neither sound nor fury. It was simply there, curled atop 4 legs, steaming breath rising from the black maw, leathery wings unfolded in on its hulking shape. It towered over the center of the village, ominously silent. It did not move. It did not seem to be living, save for the seeping steam billowing from its slime-slicked snout. At first, the people of View peeked at the beast from behind shuttered windows, sneaking glances from the safety of embroidered drapery. An hour passed, then 2, and when the sun had reached its highest point, the people began to emerge from their homes to approach the creature. The beast seemed to be sleeping. The bravest souls crept close enough that those looking on would later say that their figures seemed darkened, as if the beast leached the light from their skin. The people of View, or the Trow, gathered to discuss what was to be done. The beast slumbered, but for how long? Why did it sleep? And perhaps most worryingly of all, how had it arrived in their valley? Not a soul had seen its arrival. It was almost as if the thing had simply materialized in the center of the village. Or, some proposed, it emerged from the earth itself. But if that were the case, how would the soil, their valuable, rich, rare earth, the source of their plenty and their affluence, birth such a terrible creature? Some were quick to suggest leaving the valley. We could ascend into the alcoves in the mountains, the merchant said. With no one to tend the fields, how would we eat? The farmers countered. The villagers decided to stay in their valley. The creature slept, and the creature breathed. With each breath its skin rolled, animating the thorny black scales into a rolling obsidian briar. But it did not rouse. It did not move. It did not rain terror from the skies, nor did it consume children by the score. It slept. The people of View considered sending an envoy to appeal to the miners of the mountain for help, but they knew that they would receive none. So the farmers continued to tend their land. The merchants made their yearly trek up the treacherous trails to collect what little chips of wealth the miner had collected in exchange for the farmer's yield. Year after year, however, there seemed to be a little less. A little less harvest. A little less blue and yellow passed around in snowy alcoves carved from unforgiving rock. A little less green in the valley, a little less light. This continued for 20 years, until the day it began to rain. The people of View, or the Trow, watched the clouds roll in not from the south, whence clouds usually arrived laden with water from a faraway sea, but from the north, where there was but ice and stone and mountain. The rain draped the valley in dampness that did not relent, but instead crept into every corner. The mountains themselves seemed to sweat and pour into the valley. The water carried with it a rot, a quiet rot. The first harvest after the rains began produced a meager crop, and what little could be gathered was black with mold before the merchants had a chance to trade for the yellow and blue. Their livestock fared no better. The animals began developing weeping sores that became infected and killed with a quick fever. That winter, the people of the Trow, or View, watched one another waste away as they began to starve. The people of View could delay asking for help no longer, sending an envoy into the mountains to appeal for assistance. They found the mines deserted. The people of View were truly on their own. The next harvest was worse. Every last crop had turned mealy and infested before midsummer. By the end of the season, the last of their livestock were dead. The people of the Trow watched one another descend into a state of hungry madness, devouring the rotting wood sloughing from their homes in slimy heaps and their fine leather belts that once held yellow and blue, now sprouting spores of black mold. The village and its residents were rotting away. A group of villagers approached the beast after the last of their livelihood had perished, slogging through the swamp of waist-high mud to make a plea to the beast. Oops. We are sorry if we have offended you, mighty creature. We offer ourselves to you, in hopes that our sacrifice will satisfy your hunger. In unison, the villagers submerged themselves into the tarry mud, suffocating in the muck. The beast slept. As the rains from the north continued into their third year, the few remaining people in the Trow began to prophesy about the beast. It had come and brought with it great devastation, they could agree. It had brought the rains from the north, and it had brought the rot to the village that would not relent. Squatting in what little remained of their crumbling homes, they dreamt of the day that the beast would be satisfied, when it would wake and leave their valley and allow them to farm the land. They dreamt of the day that the miners would return, bringing them their bits of wealth. The time will come, they said, when the beast will wake from its slumber and spread its wings, reaching from one end of the valley to the other, and with a beat of those mighty wings will ascend aloft a squall. And I totally noticed that bird-like creature in the back in the distance. And the wind will lift away our rot. The villagers waited for this day to come. A generation came and went, born into rain and long rotten in the moldy dirt. The few survivors had long abandoned hope that the beast would return to its mountain perch. It was perpetual, a manifestation of their sin. The beast slept, until it did not. The day the beast awoke, the villagers celebrated. They watched it stretch its long, horrible form to shape, hide shuddering as it shook, the decades of rain from the thorny scales. They sang to the beast as it understood uncertainly, and reared on its haunches, unfolding the scarred leather wings from one end of the valley to the other. The time of the beast's departure had finally arrived. The time had come for the cleansing wind. beast beat its wings, emitting a tired and ugly groan as it lifted from the sodden earth. With a final sigh, it shot high into the air, sending a great gust of wind through the valley that toppled what dismal dwellings remained haphazardly standing. The valley was wiped clean. The villagers were knocking from their feet by the rush of wind. The villagers were knocked from their feet by the rush of wind. As they struggled upright, they felt the sun in their skin for the first time. They rejoiced, their pale forms dancing in a pitiful display of frailty. They could return to the ways of their ancestors. They could know plenty. They planted their first crop before the grass had even greened, with a newfound equity for the hunger pains that plagued them constantly. But the grass did not wax green, and the crops did not grow. The decades of rain from the north had left the earth poisoned. There was no going back. They wept, convinced they were doomed by their ancestors' actions, that the beast had punished them for some forgotten guilt. Their rot had been lifted. In its place, sterility. The sun shone, but it was upon a new land. A land turned jagged, unforgiving slate. Perhaps bits of yellow and blue could be scavenged if one dug deeply enough to find a petrified leather belt. That's the end, Ben. You remembered all that? This kid. Great memory. I don't have it with me to read. I obviously remembered it. Did you like it? Wow, the rain sound is really coming down hard from the sound of the audio. And the thunder. I did like it. I'll print you a copy. What were you doing at Grandpa's house today? And I'm looking at the visibility just turned to absolute poop. Just visiting. But there's no one to visit. I just wanted to see it. Oh. Why didn't you ask if I wanted to go? We're still asleep. You could have woken me up. We can go tomorrow. Okay. Did you find anything there? Something for you, actually. What is it? Guitar pick. Why would I want a guitar pick? It's cool. I don't think so. We can play together. I don't want to. Okay. You can keep the guitar pick. I don't want it. It's very strange for Ben to suddenly act as spoiled as he is. Are you crying? I'm just sad. Is it because that Jesse person kicked you out of your house? Ben, I don't... Or is it because you had to move back home since you couldn't find a job? Mom and Dad are worried about both those things. You think you're sad because of them. Oof. The rain and thunder just adding on to the pressure. Ben. Okay, Ben, give me the phone. Kelly's crying and I want to know why. We might be a little bit on the nose. I know, honey, but let me talk to her, please. Come here, bud. Help me wind up this radio so we can listen to the weather report. Did I do something wrong? Maybe. Maybe. Did I do something wrong, Kelly? No, you're fine. Go help Dad. Okay, I'm sorry you're sad. Hey, Kelly, are you okay? Not really, no. Ben, he doesn't understand that he can't... Ben is fine. He looks up to you so much, you know. I know. Where are you? Are you close to home? I can't tell. It got really dark and quite foreboding, sort of. I can't believe the sirens are still going off. This might be the longest tornado warning we've had. Oh, what happened? Okay. They're saying 2 more have touched down in the county. Uh-oh. Listen, when you get home, we'll all sit down and have a talk. I think we need it. I like that. You really can't tell where you are? 5 miles out, maybe? Okay, make sure you... What's that noise? Kelly, I'm gonna have to let you go. Mom? There, and... Mom, you're breaking up. Al and Ben... Mom? Kelly, Oh, wow. Shit. Oh, shit. Oh, wow. That was quite heavy. Very different. So, I'm well to assume what just happened was that Kelly's family indeed got caught up in one of the tornadoes that touched down. And rather this whole sense of foreboding, rather than actually Kelly getting injured and being unable to make amends with the things she's struggling with, it's her family she can't make amends to. And that's something that cuts pretty deep. That is an altogether very terrifying experience where I can't imagine what it must be like. Anyway, I'm going to end the video here, guys, so hopefully I'll see you next time soon. Thank you very much for watching and keeping up with my content. And this is, again, 3/4 Home, a very small title that was released on several platforms, including PS3, PS4, PC on Steam as well. I think it's a very important journey to go through for personally as well, for students, anyone coming out of university, coming out of college, even high school, and are finding themselves at a distance with their families. This is even for me personally, this is a great way to remind myself that I should really connect with my family, and in many regards, I wish I had more so during my time at school, because even in the briefest moments like that, it just like snap a moment and everything will be gone. And in a sense, that's really eye-opening and very scary to think about. And yeah, 3/4 Home was a great way to just connect yourself with those situations, as well as reminding yourself of the limited nature of everything in life. That everything is finite, that things do see an end in unsuspecting ways, and it's very important to recognize that. So yes, one more time, and for last, of course, thank you very much for watching 3/4 Home, and thank you for checking out the few videos on the channel for this as well. Have a good one, guys. Cheers.